There exists a category of creatures in the world that have been discovered by a few individuals, but have not been scientifically confirmed. We collectively refer to them as unidentified mysterious animals, UMA. Hello everyone, welcome to the World in 10 Minutes series. Among the many unexplained phenomena and urban legends, the Bigfoot has always been a captivating topic. Although mainstream academia generally believes there is little scientific evidence for the existence of such a creature, many enthusiasts and some paleoanthropologists argue that a higher primate species distinct from humans may exist. Today, I'll share with you one of the most famous Bigfoot legends in the southern United States, the Fouke monster. Also known as the Swamp Stalker, Boggy Creek Monster, or the Southern Bigfoot. The Fouke monster is named after its frequent sightings in Fouke, Arkansas. It is typically described as a primate-like creature with glowing red eyes, covered in reddish-brown fur, walking upright, and estimated to be between 7 and 10 feet tall. This creature is said to attack humans and their property, move swiftly, and swing its arms like a monkey while running. Some reports also mention a strong, unpleasant odor emanating from its body. Similar to the Yeti we discussed earlier, sightings of the Fouke monster are numerous. From the early 20th century to the present, there have been sightings reported almost every year. According to the Fouke Monster Research Organization, as of 2021, nearly 100 official sighting reports have been documented, with countless unofficial accounts. Today, I'll share some of the most notable incidents. The Fouke monster legend gained widespread attention in the 1970s due to a report. Although I couldn't find the original newspaper, I did find matching records from the Bigfoot Field Research Organization and Facebook. On Sunday, May 2, 1971, 25-year-old Bobby Ford was admitted to St. Michael's Hospital with scratches and mild shock. Bobby claimed that he and his family had been attacked by an unidentified creature. Their house, located about 10 miles south of Texarkana, near Highway 71, had become the center of strange occurrences since they moved in a few days earlier. On Wednesday, Bobby's wife and sister-in-law heard footsteps on the porch. On Friday at midnight, something tried to enter the house. On the night of May 1st, they finally encountered the creature. Bobby's wife, Elizabeth Ford, recalled. She was lying on the couch, preparing to sleep, when she noticed the curtains moving unnaturally. She then saw a hand reach in through the window. At first, she thought it was a bear, but she quickly realized it was something else entirely. The creature was covered in thick fur, and its eyes glowed red like burning embers. It made no noise while moving, but its heavy breathing was audible. Bobby and his brother ran to the back of the house and fired their guns at the creature, driving it away. They immediately contacted local police officer Ernest Walraven. When Officer Walraven arrived around midnight, he searched the nearby fields and woods for about an hour but found nothing. He left behind a shotgun and a powerful flashlight before departing. The Fords waited on the porch, keeping watch. Shortly after, the creature reappeared, and gunfire broke out again. Believing they had successfully shot the creature, the group approached the area where it had been. At that moment, a woman's hysterical scream came from inside the house. Bobby turned back toward the porch and was suddenly grabbed by a large, hairy hand that threw him to the ground. He struggled to escape, describing the creature's heavy breathing and its glowing red eyes, about the size of half a dollar coin. Summoning all his strength, he managed to break free and, fueled by fear, ran around the house. He was so frantic that he didn't even open the front door. He crashed straight through it, causing the scratches he sustained. When his brothers heard his screams and rushed to help, the creature had already disappeared. Officer Walraven returned after being contacted again and stayed until about 5 a.m., but the creature did not reappear. The aftermath revealed a damaged window, several pieces of torn metal under the house, and claw marks and three-toed footprints left on the porch. When reporter Jim Powell arrived at the scene, he found the Ford family packing up their belongings to leave. At that point, they had lived in the house for only 5 days. This incident was featured on the front page of the Texarkana Gazette on May 3rd and in the local Daily News. Jim Powell named the creature the Fouke monster. In the following days, the Associated Press distributed the story, causing a sensation nationwide and even worldwide. Crowds of people gathered daily around the Ford house, hoping to see or capture the monster. To prevent unnecessary chaos, local police issued a notice banning firearms in the area. However, this did little to curb people's curiosity. 3 weeks later, on May 24th, the Daily News reported another sighting. The headline read, "Texarkana Group Spots Monster Again." The story went as follows. On May 23rd, the Woods family and their aunt, Mrs. Sid Guess, were returning home from Shreveport. As they drove along Highway 71, south of Fouke, they saw a strange creature crossing the road. They described the creature as not very tall, as it was hunched over while walking, swinging its arms like a monkey. Its body was massive. Mr. Wood said he thought they would hit the creature because he couldn't brake in time, but it moved so quickly across the road that it avoided the car entirely. It didn't even glance in their direction. In some ways, the creature resembled a giant monkey, covered in black fur. Its estimated weight was over 200 pounds. The next day, similar reports appeared in other newspapers, spurring a new wave of Fouke monster searches. Local police offered a reward of $1,290 for capturing the creature. Little Rock radio station also offered $1,090, hoping to ease public demand. On June 13th of the same year, Willie Smith, a local farmer, discovered footprints in his field about 150 yards from his property. The tracks measured 13.5 inches in length and 4.5 inches in width, with only 3 toes. Interestingly, the creature seemed to have deliberately avoided trampling the crops. With the help of local law enforcement, the footprints were cast in plaster. Smith later made replicas of the casts and sold them at a nearby cafe. As time went on, public interest in the creature waned due to the lack of results from searches. However, on August 8, 1972, a horror documentary directed by Charles B. Pierce, titled The Legend of Boggy Creek, was released in the U.S., catapulting the Fouke monster legend into the spotlight. The director conducted on-site interviews with people from the Fouke area, gathering accounts of sightings and clues dating from the 1940s to the early 1970s. One of the most well-known cases was the James Lynn Crabtree incident. In 1965, at the age of 14, James saw the creature while hunting squirrels. He accidentally stumbled upon the hairy beast, which roared at him when it noticed his presence. Terrified, James fired 3 shots with his rifle and fled home in panic. Other sightings included people observing the creature cleaning its limbs by a lake, livestock being attacked and dragged away, and more. Some of the actors in the film were real local residents. For example, Willie Smith, the farmer who discovered the footprints, played himself in the movie. The film also reenacted events spanning over 70 years, and much of the footage we've seen so far comes from this work. Notably, the film had a budget of only $160,000, but it grossed over $20 million at the box office. For that era, this was an astonishing number. I recommend that everyone watching this video look up the movie. Although it lacks fancy special effects and high-definition visuals, it compensates with rich content. The documentary-style approach creates an intense, immersive experience for the audience. The influence of the movie lasted for about 2 years, but by 1975, news of the Fouke monster began to fade from public attention. Although sightings and incidents continued, none caused a similar sensation. In 2012, American writer Lyle Blackburn published a book titled The Beast of Boggy Creek, which compiled nearly all known reports and similar sightings. The timeline of Fouke monster sightings was pushed back to earlier events. The first was in June 1851, reported by the Memphis Inquirer in an article titled Remarkable Deathbed Witness. It described an incident in Greene County, eastern Arkansas, where 2 hunters saw a herd of cattle stampeding as if being chased by something. When the cattle passed, the hunters saw the creature. It resembled a human in size and build, was covered in thick hair, and had long hair on its head that extended over its neck and shoulders. The creature stared at them briefly before turning and running away at great speed. It left behind footprints that measured 13 inches long. The second report came from the Caddo Gazette in March 1856. A journalist described a group of people trying to capture a wild man. The The creature was described as being like a muscular athlete, standing about 6 feet 4 inches tall, covered in reddish-brown fur. It ran up a riverbank with the agility of a deer. The hunters didn't shoot it, intending instead to capture it alive. However, when the creature saw the horses and riders, it charged at them in a frenzy. It dragged one of the hunters to the ground, violently attacking him. It reportedly gouged out one of the man's eyes and bit into his shoulder. Finally, it tore off the saddle and reins from one horse, freed the animal, and mounted another horse bareback, riding it swiftly across the plains before disappearing. Although I couldn't find the original articles, I found reprints in other newspapers from the same era. Similar accounts, such as those of the Arkansas wild man in the 19th century, began appearing sporadically in this region. From the information I gathered, the Fouke monster has increasingly taken on an entertainment role. Since the 1980s, its image and story have become more prominent on screen. Apart from newspaper reports, its legend has been perpetuated by various remakes, original films, and, most notably, documentaries or mockumentaries produced by major TV networks in the 21st century. Shows like Monster Quest, Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot, and the Travel Channel's Weird Travels have explored the creature. For example, in 2013, the first season of the supernatural documentary series Monsters and Mysteries in America featured the Fouke monster story. The show included 2 recent sightings. The first occurred in September 2011, around 6 p.m. A girl named Cecil Owens was at a friend's house working on a paper. She distinctly remembered the friend's dog barking non-stop for about 20 minutes. Around midnight, Owens drove home along a small road. As she passed a farm, she saw something crouched in the grass by the roadside. When her car's headlights illuminated it, the creature suddenly stood up. Owens described the creature as a monster. Its chest was incredibly broad, about 3 feet wide, and it stood approximately 8 feet tall. The creature glanced around briefly before sprinting into the bushes on the other side of the road. Sensing danger, Owens hurriedly rolled up and locked all the car windows, but he forgot about the sunroof. A large, hairy hand reached in from the car's roof, trying to grab him, but he managed to dodge it. In the darkness, he couldn't get a clear view of the creature, but he quickly started the car and fled the scene. The second incident occurred in 2004. A local hunter, Doyle Holmes, was hunting in the swamp early one morning around 6 a.m. The fog was dense, and he heard splashing noises from the shoreline. As he approached, a large figure appeared in the bushes. He recognized it as a tall, bipedal creature, occasionally letting out low growls. The creature seemed to be searching for something in the water, creating splashes as it moved. After a while, it ran onto the shore and disappeared into the forest. The story didn't end there. On Thanksgiving Day that same year, Doyle took his son into the woods to hunt wild boar. They went to an area near where the creature had been seen. While searching for game, his son discovered massive footprints in the area. As a seasoned hunter, Doyle had seen many animal tracks, but these were unlike anything he had ever encountered. Suddenly, a terrifying roar erupted from the nearby forest. It was unlike any wild boar or human sound they had ever heard. They could see a massive, unbelievable figure moving through the bushes. However, the creature didn't display any aggressive behavior and soon disappeared into the depths of the forest. 2 days later, Doyle returned to the woods and made plaster casts of the footprints. During subsequent hunting trips, he discovered more similar tracks, leading him to speculate that there might be more than one creature. Finally, let's look at a more recent report. On October 22, 2023, a local TV station in Little Rock aired a 5-minute news video about the Fouke monster. The report featured an interview with a woman named Reba Gillian. She recalled her first encounter with the creature when she was a child. One night, she saw the monster while in a car. It was about 7.5 to 8 feet tall. Her immediate reaction was to scream and pound on the car window, trying to get her parents to stop. However, since she was just a child, her parents didn't believe her. She said she never returned to those woods after that. The program also interviewed Danny Roberts, the founder of the local Monster Mart. In 1984, he purchased a small building that initially served as a restaurant. A few years later, As more people came to the area looking for the monster, his brother suggested renaming it to the Fouke Monster Mart. It has since become a hub for gathering information about the monster. Danny recalled a time when people brought guns and dogs, breaking through fences in hopes of finding the creature. However, nothing was ever found. Danny himself has never seen the Fouke monster, but his brother, Ricky Roberts, provided an audio recording he captured in the forest. It contained a chilling growl. In Fouke, many enthusiasts like Roberts are dedicated to finding and studying the creature. For example, Bigfoot researcher William Lunsford has been fascinated by the topic since his first sighting in 1977. He firmly believes the Fouke monster lives in the forests of Miller County. He even shared some evidence with the program, such as stacked branches and footprints. Indeed, the overwhelming number of reports has convinced many people that a large non-human primate inhabits the swamps of Fouke. However, some scholars and skeptics have presented counter-arguments. After the Ford family incident gained attention in 1971, American archaeologist Frank Schambach questioned the footprints. Firstly, he argued that the tracks did not belong to a primate-like creature, as they only had 3 toes, whereas all primates, including early humans, have 5 toes. Secondly, all primates are diurnal, yet the reported creature was mainly active at night. Most importantly, no wild primates have ever been found in the area, and the local environment is unsuitable for such creatures to survive. According to an Associated Press report from 1986, sightings of the Fouke monster had become extremely rare by that time. Philip Spence, a deputy at the Miller County Sheriff's Office, stated that it had been years since they had received a call regarding such incidents. The authorities had even stopped keeping records of the creature. Fouke Mayor Virgil Roberts believed the creature was entirely a product of hype. He compared it to someone walking on stilts, trying to attract attention to the area for profit. Roberts remarked that while some people might have genuinely seen something, what they claimed to see was often exaggerated far beyond reality. However, the dollars generated by the legend were very real. For example, Virgil's wife used plaster to make miniature models of the monster's footprints, selling them to retailers for 50 cents each. The Gigantopithecus theory remains one of the more popular explanations. Fossils of Gigantopithecus have been found in China, India, and Vietnam. Anthropologist Grover Krantz suggested that Bigfoot in America might be a descendant of Southeast Asia's Gigantopithecus, which crossed the Bering Land Bridge to North America, evolving into a distinct population. However, the theory faces a significant challenge. No Gigantopithecus fossils have ever been discovered in the Americas. For more about Gigantopithecus, those interested can refer to our previous video on the Yeti. In 2015, American paranormal investigator Joe Nickell published an analysis in Skeptical Inquirer, reviewing sightings of the Fouke monster, the skunk ape, the Missouri monster, and Illinois' white ghost. Nickell suggested that these creatures should all be categorized as misinterpretations of known large mammals, such as bears. He argued that when bears stand upright on their hind legs, they often become mistaken for North America's Bigfoot. Additionally, some sightings involve people wearing Bigfoot costumes. Nickell pointed out that many behaviors and traits attributed to Bigfoot, such as tearing tree bark, walking awkwardly, emitting a foul odor, and so on, closely align with bear behaviors. Furthermore, most reported sightings occur near bear habitats. Regarding the Fouke monster, Nickell cited Lynn's case, noting that the described behavior, stretching its body and sniffing the air, combined with reddish-brown fur, fits the appearance of cinnamon-colored American black bears. The American black bear, a medium-sized species native to North America, has a round head, small ears, and robust limbs, and it thrives in densely vegetated mountainous areas. Despite being called black bears, their fur comes in a wide range of colors, from white and golden to cinnamon, light brown, and dark brown. The largest recorded specimen measured 7 feet 10 inches in length and weighed 1,180 pounds. Nickell noted that behaviors described in many sightings, such as sniffing the air and territorial displays, match bear habits. In 2014, skeptical writer Brian Dunning analyzed the Fouke monster legend on his blog. He first reviewed the timeline of key events. The Ford family incident occurred in 1971, and Powell's article was the first ever publication to describe a wild man in the Fouke Swamp area. The movie The Legend of Boggy Creek premiered in 1972, featuring extensive depictions of events from the 1960s and earlier. However, none of these events had been reported prior to the movie's release. Dunning argued that all these stories likely originated from the imaginative mind of the film's director, Charles Pierce. Pierce may have capitalized on the locals' desire for fame, encouraging them to exaggerate or fabricate scenes. Thus, these accounts are questionable. While Lyle Blackburn uncovered at least two 19th-century reports of wildman sightings, both occurred in regions of Arkansas, at least 400 kilometers from the Fouke Swamp. Finally, Dunning scrutinized the footprints. Among the Monster Mart's collection, there are many footprint casts, but little evidence exists to verify the locations where they were made. Without finding the original sites, scientific investigation into their authenticity is impossible. Additionally, the earliest footprints were described as three-toed, but over time, later discoveries became increasingly clearer and more gorilla-like. Hairy wild men are a recurring motif in nearly every culture, and in Arkansas, the Fouke monster seems to have taken on this role. From my perspective, I tend to agree with Professor Bryan's conclusions. While I personally believe that wild men might exist, I find the specific case of the Fouke monster unconvincing. Firstly, regarding the 1971 Ford family incident, police reports from the time did not uncover substantial evidence of the monster causing severe destruction. The traces found at the scene were far less significant than described by the witnesses. Additionally, the three individuals involved claimed to have shot the creature, yet no reports mentioned finding any bloodstains. What's even more suspicious is that after moving away, the Ford family never gave another interview, seemingly disappearing altogether. Instead, the supposed witnesses featured in the movie received much more attention. During my research into historical records, I encountered numerous obstacles. Many reports on the Fouke monster from the Fouke Monster website and the Bigfoot Field Research Organization lacked original sources. Perhaps this is due to limited access on my part. Although there are many summaries of Fouke monster sightings available in newspapers and online archives, a significant portion consists of repeated content or entertainment-focused articles. Since the success of The Legend of Boggy Creek, there have been numerous follow-ups, such as 1977's Return to Boggy Creek, 1985's Boggy Creek 2, and the legend continues, 2010's The True Legend of Boggy Creek, and even a remastered version of the original film in 2016. If you search for news on the Fouke monster, most of the results are promotions for these films. One curious aspect is the changing attitude of certain cryptozoologists toward the Fouke monster. In 1999, Loren Coleman, in his book Bigfoot, The True Story of Apes in America, categorized the humanoid creatures discovered in the 1960s as Napier anthropoids, a type of chimpanzee-like hominid inhabiting the lowlands and swamps of the Mississippi River Basin and its tributaries. However, by the 21st century, his blog entries on the topic became more ambiguous. Moreover, the father of cryptozoology, Professor Bernard Heuvelmans, never mentioned the Fouke monster in any of his works. This makes it seem like a sudden urban legend, which is one of the reasons I find it implausible. Another point is that nearly all experts on the Fouke monster are self-proclaimed. For instance, Lyle Blackburn, the author and website administrator for the Fouke monster, has published 3 books on the topic. He frequently appears in documentaries, lectures, interviews, and events about the creature. However, Lyle is better known as a music creator, having been active in the music scene as a vocalist and guitarist since the 1980s. Despite citing numerous records and reports in his books, he has never personally seen the creature. While it's clear that Lyle has gained fame and fortune through the Fouke monster, it's hard to determine how much of it is legitimate research versus sensationalism. Similarly, the Monster Mart, like Lyle's efforts, has become a popular attraction, even though the shop's owner has never encountered the creature either. The store features a wide array of supposed evidence of the monster, as well as countless derivative products. It's a must-visit for adventurers and online influencers drawn by the monster's legend, making it a landmark of the area. Thanks to this success, the store owner has profited handsomely. Overall, I believe the entertainment value of the Fouke monster has surpassed its mysterious nature. Its legend has brought dramatic changes to the local tourism industry. There's even a Fouke monster-themed festival dedicated to exploring and celebrating the creature. Proceeds from the festival go toward local educational initiatives. Like the Goatman legend, the Fouke monster serves as an effective local branding tool. Of course, this is just my personal conjecture. Whether the Fouke monster truly roams the swamps will require more time and humanity's continued exploration of nature. As always, the unknown surpasses the known. That's the true charm of UMA. Thank you for watching this episode.